Well, it's official. The Milwaukee Bucks have undergone a complete 360, going from a record of 2-8 to now being 14-11. They are now 12-3 during their past 15 games and have topped it off with an NBA Cup championship, or an in-season tournament championship, whatever you want to call it, and winning by 20 over a very good Oklahoma City Thunder team. Coming into that game, the OKC Thunder were looking dominant, had only lost 5 games so far this season, and many expected them to win. But Milwaukee pulled it out and nearly beating them by 20 on top of it. Not to mention them not even celebrating it. Apart from holding up the trophy and doing the ceremony, they didn't celebrate it, didn't pop champagne, and they're looking for an NBA championship, not an NBA Cup championship. Regardless though, definitely a step in the right direction for them. But with that being said, how have they been able to turn their team around? And not to mention how quickly they have done it. We'll talk about it and break it all down. And well, first things first, we gotta mention Giannis Antetokounmpo. Having a career year at age 30, just when you thought he couldn't get better, he simply has taken another step. Averaging a career high 32.7 points per game, currently leading the entire league, 11.5 rebounds per game, 6.1 assists per game, 1.6 blocks per game, and a career high 61.4% from the field. Absolutely ridiculous numbers here, and really going back to that efficiency, that's probably the best part about it in my opinion. I mean, you want to know how efficient Giannis has truly been? Nobody else in the top 35 in points per game has a field goal percentage of over 58%. And again, Giannis has one of 61%. In fact, only one other guy has one of even over 55%, with that of course being Nikola Jokic. But that difference in about 5% is a gigantic difference when we're talking about 25 to 30 points per game, and especially 32 points per game like Giannis. Sure, he might not take as many 3-point shots, but simply being that efficient and that dominant around the rim, and being able to get to the rim at that rate, even when he's not scoring, finding open teammates, is truly elite and probably something we have never seen before at that level. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of things that we need to credit and really should credit for the Bucks turnaround, but none of them more than Giannis Antetokounmpo. The guy's been a lead for them on both ends of the court, has brought their team together, and is without a doubt the number one reason for their turnaround. Apart from Giannis though, we gotta give credit to their commitment to improving their defense. It's really been a team-wide effort, and they don't get here without everybody on their team buying in. Up until November 10th, when they had a record of 2-10, they were the 8th worst defense in the entire league. But since then, they have been the 8th best defense. And we're only talking about a month apart here, so that kind of improvement is very impressive. During that time frame, opponents have shot only 45% against them, the 6th best in the entire league. They're only giving up about 112 points per game, which might not sound great, but that's actually pretty good in the modern NBA, currently being top 12. And then they have been absolutely elite at defending the rim. Opponents have shot only 60.1% at the rim against them all season. That's top 4 in the NBA, and a big shout out to both Brook Lopez and Giannis here. They have been great at defending the rim, whether it's one-on-one protection, help side defense, or simply making a great recovery play. They have been very good. Between the two of them, they have accounted for over half the team's blocked shots, with the team averaging about 5.7, and them accounting for nearly 3 of them per game. I don't know how he keeps doing it, but Brook Lopez seems to never decline on defense. Even though at 36 years old, he remains an elite rim protector, and the number one reason for them being a top 5 paint defense if you ask me. Averaging over 2 blocks per game for the 3rd year in a row now, not to mention again during his age 34, 35, and now 36 season. Pretty damn impressive. And during that time frame back to November 10th year, Brook Lopez has led their team in plus-minus rating, having a plus 67 rating during that time frame. And then on top of that, averaging nearly 13 points per game, shooting about 40.5% from beyond the arc on over 5 attempts per game, and we're talking about a 7'1" center here doing that, and playing elite defense while doing it. Whether it's on offense and playing a spot-up shooter role to space the floor for Giannis and Damian Lillard, he doesn't care about doing that. Will find the weak point in the defense and then grab offensive rebounds or run the court. And then on defense again, being that last line of defense, and Giannis doesn't get to be the elite help side defender or help defender in general without Brook Lopez behind him. So big shout out to Brook Lopez. Then for Damian Lillard though, you gotta recognize him and stepping it up on both ends of the court. Obviously playing well on offense, averaging about 25.5 points per game, 8.3 assists per game, shooting 39% from beyond the arc, with nearly 4 made 3-point shots per game dating back to November 11. And then on top of that, playing pretty solid defense too. He might not be known for it, but Dame has shown more commitment to playing defense, and it's definitely made an improvement on their defense too. Obviously not as much compared to Giannis, Brook Lopez, or even Andre Jackson Jr., but he's definitely doing his part, and has been very vocal about it too, saying that he's not a liability on defense, and that he's trying harder on defense, and I believe that's showing up. And overall, the Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo combination is finally looking like the one that we all imagine. Playing elite offensively, borderline unstoppable at that, playing good on defense, and having a great supporting cast behind them. And speaking of that supporting cast, apart from Brook Lopez, another guy that we can't forget to mention happens to be their point of attack defender, Andre Jackson Jr. You know, he might not get talked about much, the numbers aren't great for him, not putting up a ton of points per game, not being a deadly 3-point shooter, or a high-level playmaker, but a great defender nonetheless. They don't get to being that top 8 defense without Andre Jackson. If you watch him play, then you know what I'm talking about. Locking up from the point of attack, switching 1 through 3 and even 1 through 4 at times, being big enough to do it, being about 6'6" and a really strong defender at that, not to mention being a pest on defense, averaging about 2 steals per 36 minutes, and all around being very committed and fulfilling the role that they need him to fill. I mean, I'll put it this way, there are not many guys I'd recommend checking out purely for their defense, but Andre Jackson Jr. might be one of them. The guy loves playing defense, he's very committed to doing it, and he'll get after any player regardless of the matchup. Love watching him play, and I highly recommend checking him out if you haven't already. But after him, if we're talking about underrated role players and guys that fill their role tremendously, we gotta mention AJ Green. You know, might not be widely known yet, but he is very talented and has the ability to become pretty well known. Currently second on their team in 3-point percentage, nearly 48%, behind only Taurean Prince. But he is attempting nearly 2 more of them per game, with about 5 fewer minutes per game. So pretty darn impressive, and the amount of difficulty on the shots that he takes and makes pretty much every game is off the charts. I mean, the shot that he hit against Isaiah Hartenstein in the NBA Cup, fading away from the corner, falling out of bounds from the 3-point line, and making it by barely hitting the rim, was absolutely filthy. And it's not only that shot, the guy hits plenty of tough shots pretty much every game. The arc on his shot, it looks like it might never come down, but ultimately does and nearly goes in half the time, which is pretty damn impressive again. But even apart from his 3-point shooting or the offensive contributions that he makes on offense, you gotta give credit to the guy for the effort that he plays with on defense. You know, might not be the best defender in the world, but he definitely works hard on defense and takes on some fairly difficult matchups too. Last night, that meant matching up with a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at times, and he actually held his own fairly well. Obviously not stopping him, nobody can do that, but he did well at staying in front of him and making him make tough shots over him, which he does pretty much every game too. Not giving up on defense, never backing down from a matchup, and making guys work hard to beat him on defense too, which again, you absolutely love to see from him. And overall, I love what they have been getting from AJ Green, really developing into a two-way player for them, an elite 3-point shooter at that, and a guy that you simply want to root for. And between him, along with Andre Jackson Jr., guys off the bench like Bobby Portis, and really the entirety of their supporting cast, they have gotten really good contributions behind Giannis and Dame, and they are reaping the benefits of it. The Bucks have completely turned around their team. They went from looking borderline hopeless, especially on defense, to now being a top 10 defense, and overall being a top 5 team if you ask me. They're looking dangerous, they're locked in, playing together, and playing their best basketball right now too. Giannis and Dame are thriving, the supporting cast has been great on both ends of the court, and they're playing together, all the way down to their 15th man, and even after that with the Nazis cheering on their team too, which you'd love to see. With that being said though, what do you guys think? What have been your takeaways from the Milwaukee Bucks lately, and how they have been able to turn their team around? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.